And we're grooving to the smooth jazz of the 80s. That was John Coltrane with his new hit song. Now, that's pretty groovy beat, though. Welcome in. It's SEC After Dark. Guess who's on time today?
Yeah, it would be one Corey Burton.
That'd be me. Yeah, I'm not. Well, we don't have a soccer game tonight, so that's really good. We only got really like 2 weeks left in the season. 2-3.
And Hammer, I don't know if you can hear us. We can't see you, so I don't know what's going on. Oh, well, he just got out again. So
I don't know if that counts as being on time.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, I guess what needs to happen is. I think he needs to drop and a little behind the scenes shinfo for you guys. Hammer, his connection, he ran out of AOL discs. So, but anyway, what's up, fellas? SEC After Dark. Thanks for joining us, man. Off season After Dark. Mike Huseman.
Yep.
Bama After Dark. Jake Thomas.
Oh, you got the name.
Jeb Beecham. Movies After Dark. He's Jeb just got back from doing the Minecraft trend, and I'm Corey Burton. We're soon to be the Regular Guys podcast on this network, and then of course Locked On Vandy as well. So we all join forces for the greatest show ever, SEC After Dark. What's up, boys?
Corey, I thought you might call it Israel After Dark to get that political crossover.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
People would come in and go, "Oh,
yeah."
What's up, Rick? Rick After Dark. He's in house.
Rick After Dark. Yeah.
But man, it's been a great week. You know, I've been off. My birthday was Monday, and I've been doing a lot of yard work, a lot of stuff.
Birthday. Did you remember it?
Yeah, that would be my 34th birthday. So I'm getting closer to 40.
There you go.
And more importantly, closer to retirement age.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're ever going to let us retire.
No, I've got one of those just because I'm old injuries.
Oh.
I got one of those just because I'm 40. I woke up. It feels like I went out and just repeatedly got leg whipped because my knee is absolutely killing me.
It's crazy. You wake up and like your neck's just all stiff and like, how did I lay him on the night? You know, you just wake up and you're just like, oh God, I can't move.
Dude,
like it's crazy.
I'm all right. Yesterday, day before, I had a stomach bug, so I was not pleasant couple of days.
Yeah, those ain't fun at all.
Yeah, those suck, especially the really violent ones.
Oh, yeah. The ones that come out both ends. Oof.
I wasn't throwing up. That was positive, but
yeah.
Hey, there he is.
He had to go. I think he had to slide down the sleeve scope. You know the snow slope, whatever, to get some AOL.
Ski slope.
Ski slope. There we go.
Yeah, the ski slope, the ski slope. Yeah.
The
I had to go mobile. I had to transfer to the phone.
His signal wasn't great on the ski lift.
Right, the ski lift was not working.
How's it now, though? We clear?
Yes, that's good.
Doing good now.
I think we're clear.
Good to have you, Hammer.
Yeah, how's the weather out there in Colorado?
Man, it's been beautiful this week, but it's supposed to snow overnight. So,
oof.
All right.
It'll be cold then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was cold. The front hit this afternoon, so it dropped like 20 degrees.
Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. I want summer to finally come. It's here in Tennessee. It's 77 during the day and 47 at night.
That's perfect.
It's about what we've been having here in West Virginia.
We are this close to being able to swim down here, but it's not quite warm enough. I keep checking.
Steve, it is. How's Steve doing, Jeb?
He is doing really well, honestly. The surgery went great. Surgeons think they got even more than last time, so he reacted real well. It didn't take as long as they thought it was going to. He's already kind of trying to start recovering. You know, he's not happy about that part. Recovery is never fun, but
right.
I don't know how long he'll be in the hospital, but we're hoping he'll be out Saturday or Sunday and be able to start recovering at home. But
awesome.
It won't be a short recovery, but he's doing well.
Right.
Good to hear.
Steve, it will be a short recovery. He'll be like, man, I can't do this. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
He'll get back. He'll get back to talking shit to Auburn fans and all that stuff.
I'm missing State right now because his Detroit Tigers are in first place.
I know,
I know,
and the Braves are still in last place.
Yeah,
So,
never thought I'd see that day.
And we're going to talk about the Lane Kiffin rule. He's missing a lot. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
I know the whole Nico thing.
Oh man, that's crazy.
What happened with Nico?
Yeah. Well, Jeb, you're about to be in there for a shock of your life.
Yeah, so speaking of Nico, I don't know if you know this. Breaking news: Nico has left Tennessee. That whole thing really kind of blew up in his face. He's going to be after taxes making less than $1 million at UCLA. He left.
It was being a very bad decision.
One of the most prominent SEC schools in the conference to with insane draft stock. Like his draft stock was only going up. He was a playoff team. He was making 2.4, which is on the upper end of quarterbacks. He had already gotten $8 million. He just got greedy, man. And now he's going to be at UCLA getting, he's going to be running for his life.
Yeah, the whole thing makes no sense to me, and especially the timing. That's the part that I think was just the craziest part. Not even like this portal, just the fact that after his first season starting, where he was, he was decent as a redshirt freshman, but he wasn't great. It's not like he came out and just played amazing. He showed potential, and I had a lot of hope for him. And he'd already said at some point that he was thinking about the NFL after this next year already. It just doesn't make any sense why you would do this now. You would do it after this year when you actually show that you're taking that next step, looking a lot better, and you have the NFL as a backup. You can go back to school and say, pay me more or I'm leaving. I can go to the NFL. I could go to another school, whoever pays me more. That makes more sense. Right now, I can't understand what he was thinking right now.
Agreed.
Yeah, and it had to be, but I mean, and I understand that a lot of it was his family and things like that, but it's just dumb. The whole thing was so dumb for the poor kid. I feel bad for him. He's a 19 or 20-year-old kid making stupid decisions. Yeah, and this is the problem with giving them money.
The greed thing is, I think, at the center of it. And I don't really blame him or Tennessee. Like, they both are free to make their decisions in that. But what I think happened in the end was Nico figured, I'm going to ask for more money right before the spring game. I don't think he expected they would call his bluff and let him peace out. I think Nico fully expected they would give him what he asked for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why he held out of practice. Yep. Yeah. What he should have done is look at NFL examples, because that's what everyone's trying to be, and said, "Oh, okay, well, what's going to happen if a university decides to clap back?" Tennessee, because now I don't think you're going to see. I think that number of athletes that are going to try that is going to drastically go down, because they're like, "Oh, Tennessee, who needs a quarterback, who had a really talented one that took them to the playoffs, if they said bye-bye, what are they going to say to me?"
I think a lot of them will still end up trying. I think they just have to – the lesson they should learn from this and where Nico messed up is they need to earn it first. If Nico had played much better and earned $4 million a year, I can understand him holding out. I'd be more on his side, honestly.
If we're talking about earning it, though, he made him a lot of money by going to the playoffs. In a monetary sense, maybe he did earn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I did they go because of him? I'm not on board.
No. I get that. I get where Jeb's coming from, because, if Ron Williams went to Alabama and said, I want more money, Alabama's going to throw it to him, because Alabama can afford to lose a guy like that, honestly. So
I bet Alabama would
look at this huge stats.
I bet Alabama looks at this situation going, okay, we're kind of more in line with Tennessee here. Like, because Alabama is arrogant. Well, I don't want to say arrogant. That's not necessarily the right word, but they're confident enough in their brand that they can be like, okay, see ya. Bye.
I don't think they do that with Ryan Williams, though.
I don't think anybody's bigger than the program.
But Ryan Williams has actually kind of earned something. Like, I get where
he has, but
this would be like Austin Simmons come out at Ole Miss and saying, I want more money right now because you showed us potential last year. You don't pay people after that.
That's not really
earn it.
One drive.
He hasn't. I don't think he's had near enough to ask for anything. I don't think that's necessarily like. I'm trying to think of a player who had an okay year that would be asking for more money, and the university would be like, nah. Like, I think if Ryan Williams went to him and asked them and negotiated and did things the right way, and still, because players in the NFL do this all the time, they renegotiate their deals, and they still act professional, right? I think if Nico would have done that, they may have eventually given him his deal. They may have eventually given him the money. Yeah. But I think the way he just said, okay, I'm out, I'll quit, and some of the stuff that behind the scenes, if some of that's true, where he was soft quitting during the playoff run, like it makes more sense.
And he stopped going to practices and things like that. Like that's why they kicked him out.
That was another big question I had in the whole reporting of it, because we initially heard, well, it's the practice before the spring game, and it came up then. But then we heard, well, it may have happened during the playoff run. Well, which is it? It can't be both. It has to be one or the other. So which is it?
Yeah, and
if he's been saying that since the playoffs and still around, I would be a little more sympathetic to him if they were dragging their feet that long.
Well, Corey, going to your point, what if, say, Garrett Nussmeier went to LSU, tomorrow and says, I want more money? Do you think they'll give it to him, or do you think they'll let him walk?
I think it's a case-by-case basis. Like I said, I think it's how he approaches it, because he's done a lot for that university. Ryan Williams has done a lot for that university. Mm-hmm. Nico Iamaleava has done a lot for that university. But I think the way he handled it, Tennessee was like, nah, okay, you want to try to strong-arm us? No. But there's ways to do it. And with NIL, it's still so new. I don't know exactly what the best way to do that is. In the NFL, they have procedures and protocols for negotiations. And so the players just kind of follow along with that. But
I mean,
do you feel it?
I was going to say, ultimately, like, I think two things are at play to Corey's point of being case by case. Like, it's the coach, how secure they are, right? Because if they're on the hot seat, they're going to want to keep this guy.
Yeah.
Heupel is not. Heupel's very secure, and he has the backing of the university to say, no, we're not doing this. On the other end, or behind the scenes, it's also kind of up to the collective, right? Because they're the entity cutting the check. And so if Nico truly was skipping practices, whatever he did, during December, the collective also could have been involved here and just said, we're done dealing with this guy.
If he's being toxic, I mean.
Well, and there had been rumors, none of this was confirmed, so I have no idea, but rumors that he was having issues living up to his collective agreement already anyway. Wasn't showing up to some of the events they set up, didn't really want to interact with people that much. I mean, I understand that feeling, but if you're getting paid $2.5 million to do that, why would they give you more?
Yeah, you gotta fulfill your end of the deal if you want to. You better have all your shit together if you want to go ask for more money. Like Ryan Williams has his shit together, so I bet he would have much more success. Although Alabama would be like, they would be warranted in saying, okay, go test the market.
I mean, the thing that still makes no sense to me is the timing. As we brought up, he was flirting with this in December. It's like, dude, if you wanted more money, you should have gone in December, because everybody's spots are basically filled now. That's how you end up at UCLA, because Miami, all these other programs, they got their quarterback last round.
And that was the point I made to someone else. Like, say he would have went in the portal right after the playoffs, nobody would have. It would have been, a lot of people go in the portal then. We wouldn't be having this backlash.
Tennessee fans would have still been upset. Yeah, I would have.
Tennessee fans would have, but
I would have been like, okay,
it would have been like Carson Beck doing. Oh, okay, he's going to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think we're all kind of used to the portal thing now. Like, I don't think anybody is shocked with anybody that jumps in the portal.
And then another thing is, you talked about toxic. You don't want a toxic guy like that on your team anyway, so you might as well just let him walk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if he's being toxic, bye. Like, like at this rate with the portal the way it is, you don't have the time or energy to deal with toxic. You have two portal periods. See ya, bye. We'll see what we got in George McIntyre or whoever else it is. Was it Markle?
Jake Marklinger. Yeah.
It's a wild last name. Yeah.
I
was a 4-star quarterback. I mean,
I wanted to ask you, Jeff. I had heard a rumor that Avery Johnson could be a possibility in the portal for Tennessee.
I heard that.
I mean, that wouldn't be a bad move.
Not
Do you
at
think
all.
Jeb? Do you think he fits?
Actually, yeah. And I don't know that much about him, but Jake Merklinger is going to be a redshirt freshman. I mean, and George McIntyre, of course, just got there. He's a true freshman. So I don't really – they have to get another quarterback. I don't know if they're looking for a starter or maybe bringing back someone like Gaston Moore who's just could be a solid backup. But I think if they've got a guy who'd you say it was?
Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson Jr.
Wait, where did Avery Johnson play?
He played for the Mavs and he coached at Alabama.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
K-State.
Yeah, he's at K-State.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's a.
I didn't hear he was in the portal. Or you're just saying it's rumored.
He's not.
No,
he's not. But the rumor is that there was.
Usually with portal stuff, Mike, it's if there's smoke, there's definitely fire. Like if there's rumor, they're definitely going.
Yeah.
Because I'd heard some other people too, like a Sawyer Robertson. I don't know who all these people are. Or that's out of Baylor. Yeah.
Hammer, K-State is a climbing. That's a program right there.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
They're a potential playoff team next year. I talked about it in the last
absolutely.
I did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Heupel can put people in and get them up to speed pretty quick. He did it for Hendon Hooker. I mean,
that's true. But you in this situation, especially in the SEC, you want a quarterback who's got some experience at least. You don't want to throw a true freshman or a redshirt freshman who don't have any playing time if he has any at all. In the SEC.
I didn't like Nico having to start last year, honestly, as a redshirt freshman. I understood why they did it because he has so much talent. You want to build that up and get him really good. But I like having a veteran out there, and if they can find one, I'm all for it.
If they can get Avery Johnson, it's a win, huge win for Tennessee. And I think
if he wants a lot more money,
well, I mean, you got to if you're going to get some guy out of the portal with playoff caliber experience, like you're going to have to pay. Like that's the market value.
Yeah,
they just
already paid $2.5 million.
He's probably a guy that's already doing all right in the port or in NIL wise too. I mean, I would guarantee he's K-State's highest earner.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're in his position too, maybe you leverage that. And hey, guys, Tennessee's offered me this. I would like a raise to stay here.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Then K-State would be warranted in saying, "Okay, go take the deal at Tennessee."
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think anybody would bat an eyelash if Kansas State just said, "Okay, go."
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
and then nobody would, if Kansas State decided this is a tough one because like I know everyone was quick to jump on Nico for being greedy and being toxic, but like he did what he thought was right, and the university did what they thought was right for themselves, and both made what seems to be a mutually beneficial agreement, although Nico financially downgraded. If he ends up making it to the NFL and being successful, none of this matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not mad at Nico for what he tried to do. I just question the timing. I don't understand why he was doing
the
it
whole thing with this saga is it's not Nico, it's not the university, it's the system. There's no guardrails. There's nothing to prevent these agents and these managers and whatever else you want to call them from getting in there and really wrecking people's careers. Like greed of everyone else around Nico. Because I don't know that Nico necessarily wanted to leave. I would venture to guess that he was probably pretty happy at Tennessee. I don't know that for sure, but I would venture to guess he's probably pretty happy. So
his coach had just put two quarterbacks that weren't as good as him in the NFL. You got to assume that he thought that was a good place for him to be if he wanted to be in the NFL.
But his dad screwed him over because he's greedy. Like if his dad was a little bit more patient, Nico's going to make NFL money. Like he was going to get drafted and he was going to be on an NFL roster. I don't know about being a starter. That remains to be seen, but he was going to be on an NFL roster.
Yeah.
And so it's the system, man. Like the system, we need guardrails. We need things. I don't know what those exactly are, but there needs to be something that holds it all together. Otherwise, like, because look at the NFL. College football is trying so hard to be the NFL. NFL has so much regulation and contracts and free agency and player movement, and it seems to work. Everyone is happy with it. I think college, if they're going to do it, they need to do it full scale. They need to put heavy regulation on it, heavy structure, and I think everything will run a lot smoother.
And I think eventually it will.
I agree with both you guys there. Like, I think the biggest inhibitor at this point is the NCAA has said we can't call them employees, which means we can't have enforceable contracts, which we could with the stuff you're talking about, Corey. That would solve a lot of it.
Yeah.
But what we do have right now that actually, I know y'all have mentioned this with Tennessee, but it really was more than just Tennessee, is precedent. At least now we've had a school say no. And the other schools, I mean, good for them, all came out and said, we don't want them either. We don't want to get involved in this, which I think does help at least deter kids right now into doing this, because other schools aren't going to just immediately jump on and say, I will give you the money. Come here real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, Miami, North Carolina, Oregon, USC, they all came out and said no.
This is the market starting to correct itself. A little bit.
Right.
It should be in writing, but at least we have
pendulum swinging, starting to swing back towards the university. Mm-hmm. Like, and honestly, like, I think it's detrimental to these players. And I always say when a player leaves after 1 year, after he just got there from the portal, I've always been like, okay, I understand why he's doing it. I hope, good luck, all that good stuff. But I think it's detrimental to their development. Like, I think NFL teams actually see that as a red flag. And I think NFL teams want to see you develop within a system. How are you going to be from your rookie year to your second year? Like, how are you going to develop from those years? If you're constantly jumping the portal, they can't evaluate that, which means you're going to go down their board.
Yeah. What, TJ Finley's like on his 6th team now or something like that?
Yeah. He's doing the Tate Martell path. Mm-hmm. So is Jaden Rashada. Like, I don't understand it. Like, at some point, if you have NFL dreams, stop chasing the bag and start developing yourself and getting ready for the NFL. If you know you're going to be a career college player, fine. Go get as much money as you want.
And that's when you need to go to Vandy and get your degree.
Yeah. There you go. That's where I did know. And in their defense, honestly, I mean, I get not everybody's in the same situation. Like, I get how Arch Manning can just sit back and develop the right way because his family doesn't need money. He comes from generational wealth. He's got
if you're
tons
good
of
enough, you're going to get paid, Jeb. If you're good enough, you're going to get paid. Like, people
I know, but a lot of them, especially if you grew up poor, it just all that money right there in front of you that you can get now. I understand why some kids, and again, we're trying to tell you 18 and 19-year-old kids that they need to be more responsible.
The adults need to be adults.
And when you're 18 and about to make more money than your entire family has in their history, that's a big tough thing to pass off.
And if you have your dad behind you pushing you, I mean,
I totally get that. But in this case, the adults need to be the adults and say, Nico, you're going to play one more year and go to the NFL anyway.
That's why I his family more than him.
Just ride it out. You're going to get more money and you're going to be in the league.
Yeah, he's going to be good enough to get drafted. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's too talented.
But now do NFL teams look at that as a red flag?
If he stays at UCLA the rest of the time, I was
gonna say, if he plays well enough, it'll be fine. If he's iffy and you're not real sure, this will be a red flag around it. Yes.
But if you're a GM,
this could be another thing dragging you down.
You've got a player that's not a surefire thing.
Yeah.
Are you going to say, hey, this kid can potentially be a pain in the ass? Am I going to take him? No, I'm going to let him be somebody else's problem. If he ends up being good, great. We'll circle back in free agency and offer him. But, I think that's got to be a factor.
And at least be one of those issues you got to deal with in the meetings, the pre-draft meetings and stuff.
And him going to UCLA, the exposure is not going to be there. I mean, UCLA, is good, but I mean, it's on the West Coast. By the time they play the games at 10 o'clock on the West Coast, it's midnight on the East Coast. So
he's got to travel a lot.
Right.
Most of his games are like the Midwest.
Yeah, and nobody goes to their games, so there's no exposure for
at Rutgers. But I mean, the NFL scouts get paid very handsomely to evaluate, he's going to get plenty of exposure there. But
he is in the second biggest TV market in the country too. So
I was going to say he'll play Penn State and Ohio State and some of these teams, USC.
He'll end up being fine. It's just. Right now, it's just kind of like, he took less money at a lesser program because he thought he could get, and it backfired.
Bully Tennessee, pretty much.
Yeah, he thought he could bully Tennessee into giving him more money. He didn't. It didn't work. So, I think okay, now that he's settled, we can see what's going to happen next.
Well, I do have to now.
For him in that notion, Corey, I'm glad for his sake he found somewhere quick, so this wasn't dragging on longer.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
yeah. His family. You heard them come out and try and take try to change the narrative a little bit and say he was doing it because of the system and stuff like that, which was all, of course, complete crap. But they were just having to do something to try and make it sound like he wasn't just being greedy and got kicked out for that.
They were,
but he found his other team.
Everybody knows they're going for money grab. They were taking advantage of the NIL system, and they were taking advantage of the fact that there's no university that has said no, at least publicly, to a star player like that.
One thing that made me wonder too, and this would be down the road, but if you're Arkansas, if you're Pittman in the back of your mind, is it, God, if little brother plays well, am I going to have to deal with this shit from dad again? Like, it's realistic to think of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I think they have to definitely worry about that.
I mean, he got him to flip on signing day from UCLA to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Who's to say he's not going to flip on him again?
Right.
Like that's very much in the cards, and I think that could very well happen.
And are we going to turn into the basketball system of one and dones now?
Yeah, it's gonna, until there's guardrails, until there's contracts. Yeah.
Yeah, until there's some kind of law.
Don't get attached. Don't get attached.
It just doesn't work with football. Yeah. People need to develop in football.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Joe.
But it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. And to the development, I couldn't believe, like, I was just going through On3 and 247 the last 2 days. All the guys that transferred in December and January that lost a spring battle and went back in the portal now, you're not developing at all if you're doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You're really screwing yourself.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that bums me out the most about all this. Like, we're so far gone in a lot of ways, and like the transfer portal, NIL, whatever. Like, I don't love it, but I get it. I understand why it's there, and there are a lot of good things about it. But like, yeah, if you're going into the portal multiple times, like, there's something to be said for not just like personal growth, development, whether it's the NFL looking at you, but like if some dude has stuck it out somewhere and like, taken it on the chin, sat down, like done his time, but then earned his way in there, like that just speaks a lot about the type of player that they are, as opposed to someone who the second something doesn't go their way, they are hopping in the portal, they're in there 3-4 times, play at 4 different schools. It's like, ultimately, yes, talent will like get you far and get you drafted, but there's something to be said for guys that stick it out at one school, only transfer once. Like, if you're in multiple times, I feel like that's got to be at least a red flag, or at least something that they're going to be asking you about in the interviews, right? Of like, hey, what was up with this when you went to 4 schools in 4 years,
Nico's old team can actually attest to that. Because, I mean, look at Joe Milton. Would Joe Milton have been drafted if he had taken off when he got beat up by Hendon Hooker?
Yeah.
I doubt it. Now, he got drafted. A lot of it was because of his potential, and I get that. But him sticking it out of Tennessee, being a good teammate, and then eventually getting his one season start,
it's the development.
I think it's what got him drafted.
It's the system. Like, he became – like, he would have never been able to latch on like that in going from system to system to system.
Yeah, jump around.
And to what Hammer was saying, 2 of the teams that were in the playoffs we expect will be back next year have used that. Clemson with Klubnik, Penn State with Drew Alar. They've had these guys their whole careers. They've been very successful, very stable. They know the system, and they've become the guy on campus. I think there's something to be said for that.
But even the transfer quarterbacks, like Quinn Ewers, he came in from Ohio State, but he was a multi-year guy. Like, he came in and stayed.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He got told that he was never going to play at Ohio State, so he jumped in the portal, went to
Jackson
LSU,
Dart.
played 2 years.
Jackson Dart.
Like,
Jackson Dart, yeah.
The successful ones, even like people are going to point to those examples, but those guys transferred once.
Yeah.
And those guys stayed at their respective universities and got drafted out of those respective universities. Like Justin Fields transferred from Georgia to Ohio State, played two great years, got drafted. Joe Burrow. I mean, you just look at the top guys in the NFL.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, they weren't guys that bounced around a lot. Yeah. They may have transferred, like some of those guys may have transferred once, and that's fine. Like, it's okay to transfer. It's just when you do it excessively. you just.
I was going to say on the opposite side, what are the odds that Jaden Rashad is going to get drafted? I mean, how many different places has he already played and never makes the field? He was a 5-star recruit, but if he had stuck it out somewhere. Now I understand the whole drama with Florida when he first got there caused a lot of the mess that started this for him. But
I get it, man. I get it with some of the the peripheral stuff. Like your coach gets fired. Okay, jump in the portal. That's fine.
Yeah.
Things happen, right? And even if you go in twice, under unique under the right circumstances, it's okay. It's just those guys that are constantly bouncing around looking for opportunity after opportunity.
I was going to say, I'd like to see a rule where maybe you can only transfer twice. After that, you're just at where you're at.
Because right now they're just washing their hands with it and saying we can't do anything about the kids. We can't deal with the money. We can't deal with the transferring. We're just
the initial thought was you get one undergrad one and then you can grad transfer like that.
Right.
I remember initially that was the process. That makes a lot of sense too.
And if you just say you're from at school and your home state school, your home team, blah blah blah, they don't give you a offer out of high school. So you go to a school for 3 or 4 years, and your senior year, if you want to go back to, transfer to that school to play in your home state, I'm fine with that.
It also incentivizes you to graduate because, you got to then you get one more for a grad transfer. That is beneficial.
Yeah, exactly. I don't hate any of that. Like the transfer portal is not what bugs me. I think just the fact that I think all of this is, if it had guardrails, it would be totally fine.
Right.
No one would. This would not even be a conversation. It'd just be like, oh, okay, well, he's moving. Okay, we're going to just get the next guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, Corey. If when they have their
Rick.
Have a good night. If they had their pre-draft discussions with teams, if they had a good reason for transferring, like you were saying, Corey, your coach leaves, I wanted to transfer to another place that fit my style, that kind of thing. But nowadays, it just seems like a lot of their answers are just going to be, I wanted more money, or I had a little bit of competition there, and I didn't like that.
That's a red flag.
It should be huge red flags. I don't know how some of these NFL teams are getting around that and just having to. I guess you're just having to pray a lot of times. Let's hope this doesn't happen to us.
Well, those guys usually flame out. Like in those GMs, usually it costs those GMs those jobs. Like those guys are taking huge risk.
And you think about the money aspect of it. If you draft a guy and you give him his rookie deal, well, 2 years into that rookie deal, he's already holding out on you because he wants more money. You can have that. In
the NFL has systems in place for that. They do. But those GMs and those owners are like, yeah, you ain't negotiating after year 2, boss.
I know, but it might at least give you the red flag of what could be happening down the future.
Exactly.
The NFL has support for you for that.
Yeah.
And those teams usually don't pick up the 5th-year option at that point. They usually cut those guys.
So the examples I do not want to pick on them.
The reason
I don't want to pick on this player because I love him. But somebody like Albert Hainsworth that played at Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
Played and did well, played really well, and then got his next contract. And as soon as he got a big contract, just basically pieced out and quitted for the rest of his career. I mean, some of that kind of red flags I think you could see in the interviews, and especially if he had played in the NIL era, he probably would not have graduated from Tennessee. He'd have been jumping around and found his money.
The NFL has guardrails, which is great. Like rookie contract. Yeah. The NFL, man, for first rounders, it's 4 years. For everybody else, it's 3. And I think for the 6th and 7th guys, they're lucky. I think they get 1 year if they don't get cut.
So the NCAA needs guardrails.
We also have the preconceived notion that it's a business. We are doing this for a job.
Yeah.
Different from college.
Yeah. And that's some of the things I think about sometimes. Is I get really mad about this and then think, well, I still see it as a school and kids. Maybe we have to start thinking of it more as a business, which I hate doing that because I don't want to look at my college as a business.
That's what they want to do.
I know.
The NCAA just needs to sack up, call them employees. You can fire them at any time. You can treat them like the NFL treats their players. Like you can get cut at any time. Your contract is not guaranteed. And you have to buy out your contract if you want to leave. Like if you want to transfer, fine. Like if there would have been something in place where Nico had to buy himself out of the contract with Tennessee, nobody would have said anything. They would have been like, Nico, that's dumb, but nobody would have been mad at him. he just wants to buy out of his contract and try to go somewhere else. But
that's one thing I'm interested to see is like, again, Jeb, you were kind of bringing up how this could be like a cautionary tale of like, hey, somebody overplayed their hand. The school finally pushed back. Maybe guys will think twice. I wonder if guys will also think twice. Easier said than done, but not hiring their dad as their agent because
that's a good point.
I mean, he just lost a ton of money. He's at a much worse school in terms of trajectory, talent around him. Like pretty much check all the boxes. Like he's in a worse off position. And as we talked about, I think all this was coming from his dad and his, representatives. Whereas if he had a legitimate like agent, the agent would have said, dude, you should have entered in December or you're not entering because the market is not there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he needs somebody to tell him you haven't earned this yet. Don't do it.
Because those agents have financial stake in it. Like they're not going to lose money.
So is this going to lead to college agents for college?
College agents.
I mean, they all have NIL reps. Yeah.
They all
I was
have
going to say it's complicated though because you can't hire an agent if you're still in college, but you could
have an NIL,
but they're not.
Though.
But are they all regulated like agents are for the NFL?
They're not.
They're not. That's the problem.
I mean, anybody can call themselves an NIL rep.
Jeb, do not use the word college football and regulation in the same sentence. There is none at all with portal, NIL, nothing.
Well,
we could be NIL reps. Maybe we should. Yeah. There might be money to be made for SEC After Dark if we start.
We give them that steer money deals. Coming in.
Yeah, we get that steer money coming in. Yeah.
I make smart decisions.
Get all those tips you're making at the ski lifts, Hammer, and we'll put those towards NIL.
There we go. Yep.
Jake can get some quarterbacks hawk in Copenhagen. Yeah.
That's right. Come on, Copenhagen. I'm waiting for you to call me.
I can do definitely things that need to be refrigerated.
Yeah. Corey.
Mike, you don't know that story, do you?
I have no idea what you're talking about now.
So we had this sponsorship deal with a pickle. It's like Stewart's Cajun Dill pickles, and he sent Stewart sent us all a jar,
a sample. Yep,
sample of what they do. It's like it's all pickled vegetables, right? It's different kind of vegetables.
And we actually ate them live on a live show.
Yeah,
they're good.
So, yeah, and really I cannot stand pickles. I love like other vegetables, but like I do not like pickles at all. But I was like, yeah, for Stewart, I will eat this pickle, right? And so I ate it, all that good stuff. I was like, this is actually not bad. And I left it. You're supposed to refrigerate after opening, and it says on the jar.
Yeah,
I just let it be. Like I just forgot about it, and then the next week I was like, this pickle jar is still here. I probably should have refrigerated it. So it just was my tagline, Land. Make sure you refrigerate every time Steve do the read.
Yeah. I've heard people say it before. Now I can connect the dots.
Yeah.
So that was
leave it to Corey.
So it's like, I don't like you saying that you need to refrigerate. I was like, well, no, I'm just making fun of myself, dude. It's all good. Your product is great, man.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Your product is really good. I just forgot to refrigerate it. I'm making fun of myself more for being a dunce. But speaking of rules, man, like
what's this Lane Kiffin rule?
So the Lane Kiffin rule is this: Lane Kiffin cannot be on this. No, you know how Lane Kiffin likes to fake injuries, right?
Oh yeah.
Give mustard bottles thrown at him. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
of course.
Mustard bottles.
Enjoys that.
Golf balls
and all that stuff, right? So the NCAA came out with a rule stating that for injury timeouts. So under the new rule, if medical personnel enters the field to evaluate an injured player after the ball is spotted by the officiating crew for the next play, that player's team will be charged a timeout. If the team does not have any timeouts remaining, a 5-yard delay of game penalty will be assessed.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. So this is like they try and spot the ball and then somebody goes down.
Yeah, this is the
pretending they were hurt.
Hurry up offense and your defense is worn out and you tell somebody to drop.
Yeah.
My question.
Yeah, they look at the sideline and mysteriously fall to the ground.
I want clarity on one thing. I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, but is it only on a running clock? Say the offensive team gets a first down the clock stops in that last 2 minutes, would the defense then still be charged a timeout or not since the clock stopped?
If the ball is spotted ready for play, it doesn't matter. Because if you're legitimately injured, like you're going to be injured after they blow the play dead. Like that's not like they can tell the difference. Like when they spot the ball and then you go down, like something's fishy there. But if you're hurt, man, like you're going to be hurt during and after the play. Like there's plenty of time between the end of the play and when they spot the ball ready for play that you can be injured and be fine. So.
Did they say anything about the person who's injured having to sit out or anything? Because that was part of it that
rule,
I wanted.
That rule is the same. I did see that.
Yeah, that rule.
Still just one play.
Yeah, one play.
Oh, no. I wanted to eject it from the game. All right. That's fine.
If they're faking it, but if they're faking it, then But I mean,
we're allowed to boo and throw things at them. I mean,
if you're legitimately hurt, you're going to probably be out more than one play. Honestly,
yeah.
Because you go to the injury tent and get checked out and all that. You come back and
But I feel like
it's
tough to make it more than one play as a rule, though. In cases of like if a guy loses a shoe, like equipment type stuff, tough to punish those guys for more than that.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Like you're going to lose it after the play. You're going to go scrambling off anyway. And so it's however long it takes you to get your shoe back ready to play is how long it's going to take you to get back in the game. So that's not going to be effective either. Because those guys usually they don't mysteriously lose a shoe after the ball's been spotted because you usually have time to like meander around the field.
I don't know. Florida had enough time to throw one. A couple of years ago.
I wonder what that penalty is. I think this rule is going to be fine. I like this rule. I think it's good. Like you start eating into timeouts and 5-yard delay of game penalties, and like if you're trying to waste time or whatever, like who cares about a 5-yard delay of game penalty? Like at the end, like there's going to be teams that continue to do this. They'll take the penalties and all that stuff. I think they should.
Oregon did in the regular season game against Ohio State.
Yeah.
They took that one.
Yeah. Like there's going to be teams that just try to get around, and there's going to be teams that use that to their advantage. But yeah, it'll be fine. I think it'll work the way it's supposed to work. Teams will take advantage of every rule and everything. So that's just kind of what sports is all about, is trying to find loopholes in the rule book. Because if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Now, one thing I have a question about is I've seen this a couple of times. I think it happened to Quinn Ewers this past year, but the concussion protocol, I think he ran off, got hit in the head or something. He went off for a play and then come back. Do you think you can get enough answers out of him within one play to find out if he's got a concussion or not?
Well, it depends. If the ref stopped it, and it's good after a big hit, the ref's going to probably send you out,
right?
Because they're going to be extra careful because it's a liability. So that could have been a situation to where he got hit really hard, but those team doctors are seasoned enough to know within a first glance, like, hey, you're fine.
It's got to know what questions to ask. It's got to be true or false. The man's holding up some fingers. True or false? True. Yeah, he's fine.
All right, Billy Bob.
What's your name? Yeah.
I like that he wasn't even sure. Anyway, sorry.
Varsity Blues reference. Gotta love it.
Varsity Blues. That's a classic.
You want to see a new Charlie Tweeter end zone dance? What do you call it?
You know what I call that?
You want to call that? Tweeter end zone dance.
I remember it was one of the playoff games. Alabama, Derrick Henry laid out a safety for Wisconsin, and he lined up in our backfield and was over there, and all of our players were like pointing at him and stuff, and he was just like, "Hey man, what's up?" And they're like, "No, you got to go."
That might be a red flag.
Yeah.
I don't think we saw him the rest of the game, did we?
No, we didn't.
That guy got knocked into next week, man.
Yeah.
Well, I probably would too if I was trying to tackle Derrick Henry, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't envy that. That was one situation I was like, okay, maybe college football wasn't for me.
Yeah, I'm fine with the high school I play. That's it.
Yeah, I'm good. So, yeah.
No, I don't have any complaints about this rule. I think it sounds good. We'll see how it goes.
I do.
Yeah, I don't think, I like the idea that they're making you burn timeouts.
Yeah, and I would think most coaches like it too, because Corey, you brought up at the start that Kiffin loves faking injuries, which is true, but he also has it happen against him all the time too. So that, it's like he's probably all for this because then teams won't be doing it to him.
Yeah. It'll curb it. I mean, it won't stop it totally, but it'll curb it enough to where it's not a big issue like it was.
That's something you got to think about. Getting late in the game, and you only got one timeout left, and you got to get the ball back, and the offense is driving on your defense.
Yeah,
you got to remember that. Like, you got to figure something out there.
Yeah, because if it's run the ball time, and you give them 5 yards, and it's 1st and 5 instead of 1st and 10, they're getting that 5 yards and 3 or 4 downs.
Well, what about if it's the offense is not really going to do this, but never mind. This would be a terrible example. I was going to say, what if it's 3rd and 1 but I don't know why anybody would do that.
I wouldn't put it past anybody.
Speaking of the 3rd and 1 thing, did you guys hear the wild, alleged Mike Leach story that came out yesterday or today?
Yes, I saw that. That was so awesome.
Throw them across the line.
Yeah.
That's
run a little person.
Amazingly awful and kind of genius.
Just pick them up, just chunk them across.
Nobody batted an eye. Pickle.
Yeah.
Hold on. I had an ADD moment there. I just saw a commercial for Popeyes. They have pickle lemonade.
Ooh.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it does.
I miss Popeyes so much. We don't have it here in Huntington. It's sad, but that doesn't sound good at all.
I don't think you're missing anything with the pickle lemonade, though.
Nope. I'm not. But I love the chicken and the shrimp. They were good.
Yeah, that is good. Wow.
No, that's. I'm sorry, that Mike Lee thing just makes me laugh so much because you're just looking for a flaw in that argument. You're like, this has to be wrong. I just got to figure out why this is wrong.
But it's Mike Leach, so everybody's like, "Oh, Mike Leach,
yeah,
you silly guy."
I mean, I'm just imagining your biggest defensive tackle lining up at fullback, and then they just snap the ball and he just hurls this guy like Jonathan Allen back in the day for Bama, right? Just a mountain picking up this tiny human and just
you know what would end that though is the first time a giant guy on the other side reaches near and grabs him and slams him down to stop him from going across the line. As soon as just spikes him in the ball just into the ground. Oh yeah, no.
I feel like you're just it's they say quarterbacks will throw hospital passes. That's like a hospital throw because that guy as soon as he starts coming down on the other side, so
you're gonna have a linebacker sitting there waiting on him. Yep. Yep.
Ridiculous.
You're talking about miss Mike Leach. He was a treasure, but we're losing another treasure after the first college game day this year.
Lee Corson. He's retiring. Yeah, he's gonna do his curtain call in the first episode, and he's dipping out. So
I feel like that one's kind of past time, but
he
has been great.
He's a legend, but it's time.
It's been time.
It's been time for the last 5 years, but I mean, you can't understate the impact that he's had on college football, on television coverage of college football. I mean, it changed the entire landscape of how pregame shows were done. Think of the Big Noon Kickoff is because of Lee Corso.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they go to FSU to do it.
That's fitting.
Because don't they? Who do they? Is it Bama?
Bama, FSU
open up Bama.
Yeah. So it'll be a big game. He played there. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. The Sunshine Scooter.
Well. Yeah. He's probably gonna pick FSU, so we've already got a win there. So
yeah,
well,
he'll put the Seminole headdress on. It doesn't matter.
No, it's fine.
He'll make it a show. He's been great, man. Just
he has
the not so fast, and him in the pick segment, things like that. He's been great.
Oh, some of the funniest, that they had some montages of some of the funny moments, of the picks, and I love the one where he's shooting the guns and everybody's over there just doing like this. They're just trying to duck,
Herb Street is over there just like, what?
Yeah, they're just freaking out. And then there was one where they was either, I think it was a Harvard or Yale, and they had a little like a little kid who was doing picks, and the kid picked like yell, and Corso said, "Not so fast, midget." I'm like, my gosh, it's just a legend, you know.
Remember when he said, "Oh, get on TV"?
Yeah. You just,
I'm picking Houston.
yeah. Gosh. Man,
that's great.
Great stuff.
Comes riding in on the Harley at Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He dances with the leprechaun, and just great stuff.
I wonder if they'll try to like replace him or have somebody else do the helmet thing. But I mean, I hope they don't. But because they've already got a big crew now with Saban and McAfee and everybody. It's I feel like they should just.
McAfee's taken over like the zany pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They might have to retire the head thing, but do something different.
Like Pat McAfee's kind of already there.
Yeah.
Like he does all the call and response for every week.
Yeah.
Like a song. Like they had Luke Combs on, and he started singing. He's like, he started singing his song.
Mm-hmm.
Or like when he had Luke Bryan on for the Georgia-Tennessee game, and he was like, "Beer makes corn, corn makes whiskey, and whiskey is brewed in Tennessee. Give me the Vols," you know, that kind of thing. Like he's already doing that.
He is.
He's great. I mean, Pat McAfee's been great for the show.
A lot of people hate Pat McAfee though, and I like him. I think it's a new energy. Him and Saban both.
Those people are like, if you can humanize Nick Saban, that's a special talent, dude. Like Saban is actually a human around Pat McAfee.
I've actually seen Saban smile more, you know, in 1 year than I have in 17 years of being the coach of Alabama. Him and Pat McAfee, when he started doing McAfee's show, like they became good friends. Yeah. And of course, Herb Street and McAfee are really tight. Mm-hmm. They got a good crew. I love this crew they got. Yeah, and I like David Pollock when he was there. I really like David Pollock, but
I think for David Pollock, he's not necessarily game day.
Yeah,
I like his analysis. He's good for that. I just don't think the game day was the perfect setting for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Desmond Howard's pretty good on game day.
He is. I do too. Yep,
he's pretty good at like making the controversial pick and like everyone. Desmond, you know.
Yeah. Except Michigan. He's picking Michigan even if they're 0-12.
Yeah.
No, I like the crew. They have good chemistry. I think Reese Davis has been a really good host.
Mm-hmm.
I was skeptical of that when he became host. I was like, "Oh, Chris Fowler's leaving."
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. It's not good.
Yeah.
Reese and Herb Street have really been the stars, I think, since he came on. They've both done a good job together. They work very well together too.
And I think Herb Street, since McAfee's come on, has been more bold. Like he was always like real safe and like he's going to always try to say the right thing. But now he's just kind of like, he's just going to say it.
And one of my favorite commentating crews is Chris Fowler and Kurt Herstreet. They do a fantastic job in the booth when they call games.
Yeah. I don't have too much complaints about the ESPN crews.
I don't either.
I mean, I don't think outside of Fowler and Herb Street, because if you hear their voices, you know it's a big game. I think that plays into it. But like, I don't like or I think they're all fine. I don't think there's any crew that really is like, oh God, we got such and such and such and such on our broadcast. Like, I'm definitely watching. Like, no one's really like busting their ass to watch any of these crews, but like they do a good job.
Yeah, I love Jordan Rogers. He's got good analysis as well. When
he's been good. I like McElroy. I think he's been good. He's a little dry, but I think he's been pretty good. A little dry. Jesse Palmer, he's okay. He's okay, but he's not bad.
I like him more than McElroy. That's
Tessitore, I think since he's on Raw,
he's wild, man.
I think
he's killing it.
He's on. Is he on Raw or SmackDown?
He's on Raw. He's killing it right now.
He's absolutely killing it. But like, I don't think he could differentiate between Raw and college football.
Right? Yeah.
Speaking of Raw, Sheamus was a great guest picker last year.
He was
the opener in Dublin.
That was great.
See, I'd rather have somebody just what kind of we are saying, like Joe Tess, who, Yeah, he's over the top and he's like screaming at the top of his lungs. But I'd rather have that than somebody who's just like dry and doesn't say much. Like Al Michaels, legend, but like he's so old now. You listen to his games and you're like, dude, sounds like you're about ready to go to bed. You know?
Yeah.
He's definitely lost it. He definitely retired.
And on the MLB side, I miss Chris Bergman. When he was doing the home run, he was like, "Bark, bark, 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 bark." It's gone.
Berman's nicknames too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fastest 2 minutes that Berman does is still worth watching.
Yes, it is. Yep.
The New York Football Giants. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
The Raiders.
The Raiders. Yep.
The frozen tundra. The Lambeau.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that's cool too. Like, I even kind of like the studio crews. You remember when they had like Lou Holtz and Mark May and those guys? Like, you just love to hate them, but you're just like, it was just good.
You could also tell Lou Holtz in his later years, it was kind of time for him to move on as well, because he was stuttering and everything over some of his words.
Names, like his names were, yeah.
But he was really good in his prime.
Yeah. I miss Joe Buck doing baseball.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate on Joe Buck. I like Joe Buck.
I think him and Troy are great together.
I think Aikman's great. Aikman's one of my favorite NFL guys.
Yeah.
Fox messed up letting them go, but I always listen to the Manning cast on Monday Night Football. So I hate that Joe Buck, and for me, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are wasting away on Monday Night Football when they're going up against the Mannings.
Yeah.
Because the Manning it's basically just like watching a football game and listening to a podcast. Is basically that's what it is.
Yeah.
Are you? So I've never watched the Manning cast. Are you seeing the game and them talk, or what is the?
Yeah. So it's like it'd be like if we were lined up on the side here, and then the game was the rest of the screen.
Okay.
And then they have the guests usually.
It'd be kind of like that.
Gotcha.
Kind of something similar.
Yeah.
Except everything's like on one side, and the boxes are smaller. So the game's prominent, and they have like the game audio too. So they're like the natural sounds of the game, and then they're like, and then they'll be talking with somebody. They'll be like, "Yeah, so," and they had Bill Belichick on every week. They'd be like,
"Oh my gosh!"
They'd be like, "Bill, like tell me, what are we doing in this?" Like they would get into his like Bill Belichick would tell you how he's thinking. Like Bill's like, "Yeah, on this third down, we got in." And then, like in the middle of it, like Peyton would cut him off and be like, "Oh, that's a good play right there,"
Yeah.
"Oh, Russ is cooking, man."
My favorite Manning cast was the one with Marshawn Lynch. That was gold.
Marshawn Lynch in anything.
Yeah, you're right.
Old beast mode, man. He had the Amazon Prime. I like the Amazon Prime crew, like the pregame crew with Fitzpatrick and Tony Gonzalez and Andrew Whitworth.
And
there's some legends right there too.
Who else? Is Richard Sherman on that one?
Might be.
Dos Minutos for those of you, all you non-Spanish speaking people out there. So 2 minutes. Anyway, we could go on forever about talking about broadcast crews and things like that. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that. So
Keith Jackson, one of my favorite college ones. Great voice.
Yeah.
Hello. We got a bon butter here in the Rose Bowl.
The granddaddy of them all.
The granddaddy of them all. It's the Alabama Crimson Tide with Florida State University.
Yep.
Yeah.
I miss Vern too. I liked Vern on the CBS calls.
Yeah.
Those are legendary. Wow. Even though he's like, wow, Tim Tebow. And Danielson's like, Tebow's not in this game, dude.
That's so good.
Vern's great on the Masters too.
Mm-hmm.
He Vern's CBS, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
CBS.
Yep.
He was phenomenal on the Masters. He was always on the 16. He was always in the tower at 16.
Yep.
Okay.
Always. We go to Vern in the tower at 16. Jim Nance as he does.
Yeah, that Tiger chip in on 16 with Vern on the call is just all time.
Yeah, that is all time. And speaking of all time, we're going overtime. So
congrats, Roy, on winning the Masters, by the way.
Yeah. Finally broke through, man. He tried to lose it.
Yeah.
Good Lord,
Sure.
man, I felt bad for him. I was like, oh no, if he loses this one, oh
Yeah.
that's like I legitimately, I don't root for Rory McIlroy, but I don't root against him either. He's just kind of one of those players. I like him. I think he's great. I just don't root for him or against him. But I was like, man, I hope he gets this one because I watched Full Swing on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great show. Great show. If you don't, so shout out to Netflix. Shout out, no free shout out. So anyway, we are SEC After Dark. It is time to go.
Ooh,
Turn out the lights. It's time to go. That's the old Monday Night Football outro from like the 70s. Jeb, you might be the only one that would actually remember that real time. I just know it because I'm a TV nerd, so I've seen it. But anyway, we are SEC After Dark. Hammer is one half of Biscuits in SEC. He was not here when we were doing our intro, so if you're missing his show, you're truly missing it. So, Biscuits in SEC live. It is what you want. Then you got Jeb Beecham, who it's a guy talking about it's movies for guys who like movies.
Maybe
one of these
eventually.
days.
We'll see.
Is that phrase copyrighted?
I don't know if it is or not, but TBS used it. They're like flicks for chicks who like flicks. Movies for guys who like movies. Then you got Mike Huseman.
Yep.
All season After Dark.
We're gonna get rolling soon. Yep.
Nice.
All right. Jake Thomas, Bama After Dark, coming soon this summer to a screen near you. So be in tune for that. And the regular guys is gonna, I think after soccer season, we're gonna debut the regular guys. I need to tell Israel that. It's not going to be Israel After Dark because the disappointment, the utter disappointment of we're going to see some political, this is going to be good, like Israel versus Pal. And they're going to get in there and be like, what are they talking about high school football for? Like, what is the
Yep.
I was hoping to come in here to rail on him about being
It's good marketing.
Anyway,
Hammer and I were going to be your guests talking about a two-state solution.
Right.
Which of these teams is not who play for?
Yeah. Netanyahu has got money on Green Bay. He's taking them as a sharp.
410 people watching tonight. Thank you all for tuning in.
I think the title having Nico and NIL, I think drew him in here. So, all right. Anyway, we'll see you back here next week. Better than ever. If you're one of the 410, please come back next week. We'll see you back. We'll see you then and beyond. We are SEC After Dark. Go Dogs. Anchor down.
Go Vols.
Roll Tide.
Spurs up.
Jig 'em.